So I don't know if you guys remember, but I had posted a few months back that I was going to tell you guys about my Salt Lake City trip. When I used to live there, I lived there for about 7 months and it started out cool and it ended like shit. No surprise. So everything sounded amazing before I left. Everything sounded amazing when I got there. Woo! Great, fun. Whew. I was 21 years old. I had $500 in my name, in my pocket, and I was like, I'm doing this. And I thought I knew what the fuck I was doing. Oh, wait, reality check set in. So I moved out there. I had a job for, I don't know what the hell I was doing, honestly. I was doing some sort of admin work for whatever reason. I don't know what the fuck. But anyway, that's besides the point. Started working there. The company was very gossipy, and I ended up getting fired. Whatever. And then I got a job at a car dealership, and I was terrible at it. Like, I was working with a bunch of men. It was stupid. It was like a hole in the wall kind of car dealership. And then like it was just a whole bunch of like riffraff. Then after I think it was like a few weeks of me working there, I took one of their cars home for lunch and I got into an accident. And it was totally my fault because I drove into a iron fence. I wasn't paying attention. No surprise. And yeah, they fired me. And I did not get paid my last paycheck because they kept it to pay for the damage on the vehicle. Fine, whatever. One thing led to another. I started looking for work again. And mind you, I was sharing a futon with two other people. Paying, I think it was like $250 a month in a room that was not that big. It was probably like a 10 by 10. But anyway, so then after that, this is where it started to get like nitty gritty. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to be a smut. I had met this guy who actually I'm still friends with, and he tried to talk me out of it. Doing like prostitution and stuff like that and being a stripper. And he picked me up and we went to this hotel and I just immediately got scared and I got nervous and stuff like that. And so, I ended up like not following through because I was afraid. And then after that happened, I was in the club every Friday, every Saturday, every weekend in the club, drinking bottles of vodka. That was my life at that point because I started to have kind of like a breakdown and a meltdown and I didn't know what to do. I was out in this other city and I didn't have anybody, except for my friend at the time. And that was not worth anything, to say the least. But then I dated this guy. He cheated on me. I found out because the girl messaged me on Facebook or whatever. We are good friends now, but sorry, at least I'm not putting you out there. So anyways, yeah, I kind of reverted to stripping and prostitution. I didn't follow through with any of it though, because like I said, I was very afraid. However, I did meet this guy at the club and I actually became a personal stripper for a little bit. And I was kind of like cutting myself short as far as funds go. I was definitely not doing like prostitution or anything. And I wasn't getting fully naked, but I was doing that for a little bit to survive. And then I ended up getting a job at the mall. And I was making like $1,200 a month. And my rent was, I think, $300 a month because I had moved out on my own because my friend at the time, she moved in with her boyfriend and whatever. So I was kind of like, figure it out. And I didn't have a car. I didn't have money. Like I was just constantly struggling. And like I said, I thought I knew what I was doing, but I didn't have the slightest clue. I remember talking to my mom one day and nobody knows the story of my Salt Lake City trip. My mom didn't know what I was doing. My brother didn't know, like nobody knew. And it was hard because, you know, my mom kept telling me, she's like, you know, you can do this, like it's going to be okay, you know, this and that, like you got this. And I was just like, okay. And I'm like, I'm a fighter because of you. And the call had actually dropped after that. And then she texted me and she's like, you know, she's like, you can do this, Carrie Ann, you can do this, you know, just trying to encourage me and push me to, you know, survive pretty much. What some people don't know, and some people do, some people don't, because I'm a little bit more open about it and I talk about it now more often than not. When I was working at Dillard's, I was very slim on money, and I had a roommate who they were like in a domestic violence partnership, whatever. They would always like try to kill each other and stuff. So I would always do things to like try and get out. And then every day when I would go to work, I lived about 10 minutes driving, but it was like an hour walking. And it was the middle of winter. I would put bags, like grocery bags, because I didn't have boots. I would wrap them around my sneakers and up to my ankles, and I would walk to work. I'd put like 2 or 3 pairs of socks on. I didn't ask anybody for a ride and nothing. I didn't know how the bus ran. Like, I didn't know anything, and I didn't look it up because I was just like, fuck, like, how do I do this, you know? But yeah, that's how I would get to work. Some days I would scrounge for change because I didn't have money to eat or whatever. And and I had wrecked my best friend's car too, because I parked in backwards and I broke the wing off her car or whatever, and she said it cost like $700, so I was paying her. And so I was just, you know, it was just a revolving door of struggle. And yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And then there were, like I said, there were lots of times where I would, you know, look for change on my way to work or something to, and you know, to eat or whatever, because I would like try to get like a cup of noodles or something, and if I didn't have it, I wouldn't eat that day. So, but nobody knew. I never told anybody. I never, you know, made it a thing. I never made it a, you know, like, hey, can I this, can I that? Nope, I never did any of that. And then I did meet some really cool people who I'm super grateful for, and I'm actually still friends with them. And I mean, it was definitely like quite the experience. I was also sleeping on the floor when I had those roommates and stuff. Like, my blankets would always be wet because we lived in like a basement, and so the snow and the water and stuff would like seep through and whatnot. Like, it was rough. It was a rough time. But because I'm not the type of person to, you know, like run to someone for help, you know, nobody knew. I didn't say anything. And my dad would always tell me, like, you know, why don't you go get like a futon or something? And I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Like, maybe I'll do that this weekend, but I really didn't have the money for it. But he, you know, like I said, I didn't tell anybody. But my roommates ended up getting into like a really big fight, and I called my dad, and I had to throw away a lot of my stuff, which didn't matter. I didn't care. Well, I cared at the time, but it's like now I'm like, whatever. And then I moved back home. So I lived in Salt Lake for 7 months. That was the brief synopsis of that. So yeah, if you think you know what you're doing, I'll tell you now, you don't have the first fucking clue. And I don't regret anything that I went through. I really don't, because it definitely taught me a lot of things. It helped me to grow, if anything, and it showed me a lot, you know, and it was rough. Like, it was rough, but again, I'm here now, and we're happy, we're living, we're reflecting, and that's that. But yeah, that's my Salt Lake trip. Learned a lot. It was good, and I actually love Salt Lake, and I wouldn't mind living there. But yeah, there's that. So yeah, that's about it. Bye.